Hello and welcome to One More Mile for Sunshine. Today is March 19th, 2012. I got my 19 miles in this morning. It was a pretty uneventful run. I felt pretty good going into the run, and by the time I got done, I could definitely tell that, I had been traveling for the last 5 days and had run over 83 miles in that time, and, that included yesterday's half marathon. So I was definitely feeling it. My cat decided that after I got out of the shower, she needed to throw me onto the bed and cover me up with the blanket and pin me down. So I did get somewhere between 75 minutes and 2 hour nap in afterwards. Completely unplanned and totally the cat's fault, of course. But I definitely feel a lot better since then. So I'm just putting this video together pretty quick. You can see that definitely got the stair stepper effect going in now. Still making good progress. Took me a little over 2 hours and 40 minutes today to get the 19 miles in. Just ran on some of the roads over near Little Sebago. It was, we're up to over a day of running at 27 hours, 22 minutes. I've covered 193.8 miles. If I was only on schedule, I would be at 190 miles at this point. So I've almost got those 4 extra miles in place in order to hit 500 for the month. And it's actually less than 2 weeks to go until we get to the end of the month. So I'm getting really close there. For the weekend, had a really great time. Getting to the convention, let's see. Here's a photo of what everybody got to see every morning as they came down the escalator on their way into where most of the breakout sessions were held. There was some great speakers. I got to meet Dave Waddle and hang out with Chris McDougall. Not a great picture of him, but that's the one I took. And let's see, I showed this image off. This is from my half marathon yesterday. One funny thing that's kind of floating around on the internet are those, there's a meme on Facebook with all the different pictures of what various people think you do. And the Roadrunners Club has put together one for the convention that I actually managed to star in, which was kind of neat. So here's me appearing in my first internet meme. This is a picture of Russ Fleming and myself on Saturday. We've got our reflective vests on, and you'll notice it's pretty sunny out, but we also started our run at 5 o'clock in the morning. Russ was planning on doing somewhere between 20 and 40 miles on Sunday, and I was planning, obviously, to do 18 miles. He's getting ready for the Boston Marathon and then has a 100-miler coming up right afterwards. Here's a picture of Mitch Garner and Dave Waddle, and here's some folks having some fun at one of the bars on Beale Street. There were a lot of vendors around showing off what they had and how they can help the clubs. We had plenty of training. There were breakout sessions a few times a day where you could go and listen in on various topics. And, we had quite a few meals and banquets where everybody got to hang out and listen to speakers and enjoy one another's company. There was a silent auction, and my contribution was a couple of my books and CDs and a DVD, and that actually went really well. I had a couple of people bidding against each other, so it got all the way up to $80. And one of the guys was a little disappointed that he had missed out on it and hadn't checked again. But when I was talking the next morning to the woman who wound up winning it, she said that she was hovering over there to make sure that she had the winning bid on there. So it didn't quite get over the retail value, which would have been $97.75, but I was pretty happy to be able to get the $80 for that. That went pretty well. For the half marathon, I got a couple miles in before the race, and I saw my friend Leah Thorvalson, who's got to be my favorite elite athlete. This picture obviously is from the Houston trials, not from before the race, but She was there on the starting line. I hadn't been expecting her, and she obviously hadn't been expecting me. So we chatted for a bit, and her and Linda Summers Smith would battle it out on the course. Both amazing athletes. Getting ready to start, I had a little crick in my neck, which developed after my warm-up, but before the race began. So I had to be careful when I was running, because anytime my form broke down at all, I would get a shooting pain that would go from my right shoulder up through my neck. And it's still a little bit sore, but getting into, being back home and in my own bed has definitely helped out a lot with that. So it wasn't nearly as bad today. So that was bothering me for about the first 7 miles of the race. But there were some guys at mile 7 that were handing out cups of beer instead of water. So I grabbed one of those. That seemed to fix the problem, at least until I got to my cool down. Kind of came back at that point, but I was good for the rest of the race at least. The first mile, I went out in about 6-minute pace. It was a downhill mile, and then I just kind of settled in, let people pass me for the next mile and a half. So, in the first 2 miles, a lot of people got ahead of me, and then I just settled into a pretty consistent effort. There weren't any real big hills, but it was constantly rolling throughout the whole way. Let's see. Here's the race. So, I was running pretty consistently right through. You can tell just looking at this where the hills are. And around the 12th mile, I started to pick up the pace a little bit. And you'll notice I have my 1 sub 6-minute mile in right there. And, the last miles has some uphill, so I wasn't able to do another sub 6. But I just was going through, picking people off as I went. Nobody passed me from about 2 to 2.5 on. I remember passing right before the halfway point a couple of guys, and one of them just said jealous at me. So I assumed that that was because I was still running the same pace that I had been running for the last 5 miles versus him and the other guy seemed to be fading a little bit. I did pretty well. I managed to come in 17th overall. I haven't seen how many people were in the race quite yet. I did win my age group, which was that was pretty cool. I was not expecting that at all. I thought originally I'd probably run, in the high 80s, maybe low 90s, just because I had all of these miles coming up before and after the race. But other than the neck issue, I felt pretty good. And, you put a lot of people around me, and I tend to get a little bit competitive. So I went out and had some fun and made some things happen, which was great. Now, one thing that I've got left to cover in this video is last week's contest now. I asked, what would you do if you decided to raise money through your running? Who would you raise it for, and how would you go about doing it? So there were 5 entries in there you can take a look at for what people would do, and the prize was for a DVD of my run, and then as a bonus I'm going to include a CD on actually raising money for charities. So whoever the winner is here is going to get those. So let's go and pick somebody. So we want a number between 1 and 5. And this number 2 wins. So Mike Power, congratulations. I will get in touch with you for your postal address and get those in the mail to you. If anybody watching this happens to have some great running products, I'm still looking for what this week's contest is going to be and what next week's contest will be. So feel free to get in touch with me if you would like some exposure for your product and have something great to offer to the runners following 1 More Mile for Sunshine. Oh, and one last thing about the convention. Let me find the link to it. Was that I had this idea on Friday, and I wish I'd thought of this a couple weeks ago when, I could have done a little bit more about it. But I had I was out running 5 o'clock in the morning on Friday morning, thinking, oh, it would be great to get in touch with local media and to let them know what was going on while I was in Memphis and tie it in. And thanks to Michael Smith at Camp Sunshine, he was able to help cover the groundwork because I didn't have much time to actually get in touch with people. But at the last minute, we were able to pull something together. So the ABC 24 in the Memphis area did get a reporter out. So it was literally, I got back from the half marathon and there was a message waiting for me in my hotel room. I had enough time to shower and get dressed and head downstairs, and they did a quick interview with me, and I ran upstairs, got my bags packed, and got on the shuttle to the airport. So it worked out. They have a quick segment. If you're watching this, then obviously you are at onemoremileforsunshine.com. They did get the address wrong and say it was .org, but at least that it got Camp Sunshine's name out there, and hopefully you are one of the people who saw that segment and came out to visit the website and managed to find it despite the web address being a little bit off. But thanks to ABC 24 for getting me on there and getting some exposure for Camp Sunshine. So congratulations again, Mike, and until tomorrow's update, just remember, go to onemoremileforsunshine.com and click on the Donate Now button and leave a donation for Camp Sunshine.